Me? Can you hear me, YouTube? Because if you can, good morning. Please let me know in the comments. I got the comment window up here. I'm just moving stuff around. Hey, DJ. Good to see you again this morning, brother. Morning, K9. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different this morning. I'm going to be trying something called Instagram Live. I have no idea what it is. This is just an experiment. If it goes well, let me just get that off the screen here, my stuff. If it goes well, then we're going to be streaming across the board. Jason on Locals says, fantastic, I would as well. Twitter account got, life is good. I hear you. Okay, I'll check out the website. Just for those of you who don't know, I have a locals group, honkingforfreedom.locals.com, and that's one of the places where I aggregate comments. Oh, wait, Instagram has comments as well. All right, everybody on Instagram, this is the first time ever. I have no idea what I'm doing. So welcome to my stream, and good morning to all of you. I hope you are all starting. Let me put this down a little bit. I hope you are starting the best morning, at least of your day, but hopefully this is the best morning of the week. I personally, as I mentioned last week, I love Monday mornings. I do my my weekend review, my to-do list, my organizational, all that sort of stuff on Sunday night, so I feel like I can step into the mornings on Monday fresh with a clear head. And just a shout out to Risa, who is one of my strong supporters during the convoy, who has now adopted OmniFocus. She sent me a message yesterday. She's watching the streams. And, you know, maybe we're going to talk about that in a later episode, because we want to focus on positivity and maintaining the freedoms that we have and expanding our freedoms in the future. The way we do that is not from a state of anxiety or anger. We do it from a state of peace and calmness. And I've been using all these tools throughout my maybe the last 20 years of my various careers of learning how to get myself more structured, more organized, and to clear my head so my brain is used exclusively for creativity. And that's how, you know, everybody asks me, how are you able to do so many different things, so many different projects? What, do you a spy? You know, there's all those articles that were written about me during the Freedom Convoy. Oh yeah, he's Mossad, he's a spy, he's a government agent, and like, no, I'll tell you what the secret is. I'm just organized. Anyways, everybody's here. Well, a lot of people popping up and all. Okay, now we got 3 chats. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for all the waves in Instagram. I guess it's working. I don't know if anybody knows if the Instagram one saves or it's just live or I don't know. But I hope you are all having the best morning and a positive morning. The sun is out here. It's a beautiful day out. It's a beautiful day out. I believe in most places of the Northeast and where I'm going later on today, which will be New Jersey. Apparently the weather's very nice today. So I look forward to arriving tonight and parking by the water and hanging out with my brother and having some dinner and some coffee under the stars and just chilling and just talking about his birthday party this weekend and all of his friends that I met. And those are the things that will make our lives amazing when we focus on our friends and our family and our Bitcoin, DJ. That's very important. And not get bogged down with all the negativity that the media wants us to do. Which brings me to the couple of things I wanted to discuss this morning. Ryan C7, what's up, brother? It's good to see you. So there's this show. Oh, and by the way, if you're not on Locals, honkingforfreedom.locals.com, there is a promo code that some people can get to work and some people can't. I don't know what the problem is. It's and it's not their fault. I think it's the Locals interface sometimes a little bit confusing. But if you click on the plus promo button when you go to checkout and you type in the word free, all capital letters, and the number 6, that should allow you to join the Locals community for free, because as time goes on, I'm going to have specific content for Locals, which will be, I don't know, important, interesting, and may lead to a little bit more intimate conversations with a smaller group of people, ultimately, as all of this grows. Robin O, good morning, with lots of O's and M's. Yes, good morning, Robin. So, Bill Maher. This infuriates me. So, I have family that watch Bill Maher. I don't understand why. Like, he's a comedian. He's a funny comedian, and I think he's great. And I like some of the work that he's done. But I've noticed this phenomenon that there's so many people in our society taking political advice from comedians and actors. Why? What do they know about politics, political strategy, geopolitical issues? I mean, there's a small subsection of them that do, but they're very rare, and they're usually not on the Bill Maher show. It's fascinating. He had this interaction with Rob Reiner, who is an amazing director, I think a little bit, right? And they were going back and forth on the Hunter Biden laptop, which I think we can talk about now without getting censored, just in very ambiguous terms. And Bill Maher is saying what we all knew a year ago. Like, he's really slow on the uptake. It's funny how we always, on the law of diffusion of innovation, we always put the conservatives at the end. They're the laggards. They're the slowest to adopt to new ideas. But you know what's funny? During all the cerveza sickness stuff, or what they were discussing on Bill Maher last night, and a number of other issues, like, they're 2 years behind, man. So I don't know. I don't understand how either left or right, or liberal or conservative are laggards. That would be my argument with Malcolm Gladwell, that I think it's down to the individual. It has nothing to do with whether you are, more traditional values or more kind of new wave progressive values. I don't think it has anything to do with it. Just a personal thing. It comes down to the individual. But anyways, they were discussing the insurrection in the United States, which is what the Canadian government was trying to do for the Freedom Convoy. We saw one of the actors on behalf of the Canadian government. His name is Randy Hill. He was a former elected guy. He's now out of office, who was moving the barricades and trying to encourage people to storm Parliament Hill. And luckily, Canadians are very positive people. We had an aura around the protest that was about peace and love and unity and freedom. And people were not there to cause problems. And so everybody looked at him like he's a weirdo and just walked by. It was fantastic. So they were trying to do that there. Anyways, so Rob Reiner doesn't seem to understand that, like in both these cases, in the January 6th thing in the United States and in the Freedom Convoy, which had nothing to do with each other other than the fact that both were middle-class people, right? This is the sort of thing you've seen in Venezuela when Chavez was in office. Usually it's the middle-class people aren't the one to protest. And that's why politicians get very worried, because that's their voter base. That's the base that they tend to target their policies. And the fact that neither of these groups brought any weapons in any way, shape, or form. Wyatt, Randy is a human cigarette. Okay, well, that is true. DJ, I guess that was before I started. I think it's called Instagram Reels. No, Instagram Reels is like little segments. It's like TikTok. This is something completely different. Anyways, so the Rob Reiner was trying to, equate violence to January 6th in the same way that people were trying to equate violence in the Freedom Convoy. Now, we didn't have any weapons, but what we did have was hot tubs and beers at night and bouncy castles and dancing parties and just people just getting to know each other, becoming friends, and just hanging out. It was, Trudeau's truck stop. It was the biggest, block party in Canadian history, even though it was, between minus 20 and minus 40 degrees. So, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. And then they went on to talk about Sam Harris. And Sam Harris, who, I don't know what's wrong with that guy. I have a friend who said to me many years ago that Sam Harris's career died with Christopher Hitchens. And I'm starting to think that there's something to it. But the point is, this whole apparatus of the comedian talk shows, of Bill Maher and all that sort of stuff, this is the same propaganda apparatus that is our fake news. Like, it's the same thing. And what I find, let me tilt this down a little bit. What I find interesting about it is the number of people who are completely dismissive of the fake news, like I am and like many other people are. Many people in the Bitcoin community are like that as well. They understand that it's mostly, if not all, fake, right? We understand it's scripted. I'll tell you a little story. This guy I'm friends with, named James Altucher, who he's a comedian and a hedge fund investor, was an early Bitcoin guy and all that sort of stuff. So James was telling me one time, and I think he's mentioned this on his show as well, but he said to me, the reason he stopped going on, I think it was CNBC he used to go on all the time, or MSNBC, one of the two, is he got tired of, he'd go on, and he'd say, this is how it works. They got a stage of like 5 of us that have to debate whatever the topic is. So they'll put one topic and then, okay, let's debate this. But we have a little bug in our ear, like I have right now. And no, I'm not getting any, communications from people. I'm just, reverb. And he said what they'll do is somebody will make a point, like the anchor will make a point, and then the producer will pop in and say, okay, James, counter that point. And he's like, well, I actually agree. But just give the opposite position. And it's all scripted. That's what's going on when you're watching the fake news. They're just whispering in people's ears, telling them what to say, or giving them a general direction. And if you're good at it, you get hired as a pundit, and you make several hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And you come on to kind of regurgitate what the producer wants you to say. So it's all fake. It's all completely fake. And Bill Maher is, I would say, marginally better, but marginally. So all of these people that get so obsessed with the fake news, when it came down to us being in Ottawa during the Freedom Convoy, I don't know, it's like an addiction. All of a sudden, everybody turns to, okay, we gotta get on the CBC. We gotta call this. I'm like, and I remember being there with them, like, no, that's not the media strategy. I'll deal with the media strategy. I think I've gotten us pretty successful so far since we're all over the world. Forget the fake news. That's the strategy. The strategy is to ice them out. That's the whole point. But it's just amazing how many people who frequently complain about lies in the media, but then they want to run to the fake news media to get in front of a camera. And it's like, even if you did that, they're going to quote mine, they're going to deceptively edit or lie by omission. So you're never going to get your voice out anywhere. You're always going to get the narrative that platform wants. So why do it? Right? Makes sense? Anyways, my little rant. And listen, all of this is positive. You know why? You know why it's positive? You know why it's amazing? Because next weekend, we're going to do a live watch party, if I can figure all of this out, with my encoder. And we're going to watch Punchy McGregor's fake news documentary on the Freedom Convoy. I've watched about 10, 15 minutes of it. It's mind-numbingly awful. Like, I wanted to vomit when I watched it. That's why I explained it's vomit-inducing. But I think if we all get together on like a Saturday night or on the weekend or whatever, long weekend's a good time for it, and grab a couple of beers. I don't drink beer. I'll grab a drink. We'll just hang out, and then I'll go through the video and explain everything he's lying about and how he's lying to you about it. I think that would be just a fun time, and we'll just hang out in the comment section and do it all together. So I'm going to try to plan that either next week or the weekend after, but I'm thinking long weekend is better. Because that's the positive thing. The fact that, yeah, we all know the news is fake, right? The legacy media is fake. But now we have all these platforms. And what's better with these platforms is not only do we get to hear each other in our full context, but now we got these little chat windows where we get to share ideas. And if I say something that's incorrect, you guys can correct me. And there's going to be some times where I'm going to ask you for things because I'll just say, does anybody have an internet connection? Can you check this? Because maybe I'm wrong. And it just becomes kind of collaborative. And I think that's the positive space, right? And that's how we get away from all the negativity. So on to a negative topic, but we're going to look at it from the positive frame, which is what will the solutions be? Is the economy. We've been talking, many people have spoken about this for years and years, that we're due for a crash for a long time, a very long time. And I think we will have something significant. Will it be as bad as 2008? Some people say it's so much worse. Some people not as bad. I don't know. I can tell you what I know so far. And by saying I've also spoken to some other truckers, and we're going to be doing a Twitter space next weekend, by the way, me and a bunch of American truckers. So, and these are like hardcore lifetime truckers. Most of you know this is a new to me, kind of a side hustle sort of thing. But these are kind of salt of the earth. They're great guys. They're hysterical. And one of them wrote that article in Newsweek that was published a few days ago, Gord, and I will republish that sometime soon. Maybe I'll if I can find the link, I'll put it in the description here. But in terms of the economy, where are we going? I think for me, maybe it's my bias because I'm involved in it now, which is I look at the paper industry as a leading indicator because when I get away from the craziness of trying to write a book, I get into my truck, I plug in my headphones, I connect to my Wi-Fi, I sit back and I relax and I drive and I make a couple of stops into some, small town USA to go meet people, have coffee and lunch, and then continue on to where I got to go. And what I'm seeing is, the main commodity that I ship is paper rolls. And when I say paper rolls, they're 8,000 pounds per roll. There's the size of a car. And this year, the warehouses right now are all full. So what happens is the paper is manufactured in Canada. It goes from a pulp and paper, goes to a processing facility. They make the paper rolls. Paper rolls go to the United States or other places in Canada, whatever it is, and they're used in manufacturing. So there's a 6-month latency between when that roll is on the back of my truck to when it becomes, packaging for a new, iPhone's made in China, but a packaging for, things that are made locally, right? And year to year, at least in the case of the company that I work and the various companies that we kind of all work together as a group of companies, paper roll shipments are down 50% from last year, 50%. That's very significant. And I was speaking with one of the guys in the office, and he said to me, he said, I'm worried because this is what was happening before 2008, and it was really, it was a tough time. It was a tough time for them. I mean, their company made it through, and luckily, but something to consider, that if commodities in the paper sector, those shipments are down 50% from last year, then we might have some rocky roads ahead of us in 2023. So what do we do? If we know the economy is going to collapse? Well, I don't want to say collapse. That's bad. If we're going to have a really difficult economic time ahead of us, and I remember I was living in Florida then, and people were underwater on their houses, and I remember people were just underwater in their houses and they're walking away, and I remember keep thinking, why are you walking away? Like, the market's going to correct itself. It'll take a few years, which it did, but why walk away? So I think that's the first thing. If you have a mortgage, you have a house or whatever, a condo, whatever it is, if we head into difficult times, don't just walk away. It's an asset. The market fluctuates and will be in a low period for a few years. It'll rebound. It sounds, people are living really in the moment, which I'm always a proponent for living in the moment, but not when it comes to financial planning. And, people who buy property, that's financial planning. So if you get upside down on your house, it's only going to be temporary. So don't panic. Don't worry too much. The other thing is just don't take out, try to pay off as many loans as you can right now. Pay off credit cards right now as much as you can. We live in a debt-based society. Everybody has debt. That's just the way life is. But just keep it to a minimum as much as possible and start saving some money. And I think one of the best places to save is in Bitcoin. Will Bitcoin go down from now? I don't know. This is not financial advice. I know nothing. But I think it's a safe haven asset, and it may dip a little bit into this, but I think it'll be the first thing to rebound. But it's an off-ramp from this fiat system. So it's the fiat system that's bouncing all over the place, up and down, whereas over time, it's funny, you're seeing the volatility decrease in the Bitcoin sector, but the volatility increase in the fiat economy. So I think, if you have a little bit of Bitcoin as well as a hedge, may not be a perfect hedge, but for those of us who bought Bitcoin at $1,000, or like somebody I know who bought Bitcoin at 9 cents, it's been the best performing asset of their lives. So my point in all of this is not to alarm people. Listen, the economy is always going to fluctuate. It's always going to go up and down. Don't react to it. It's going to get difficult. Just prepare if you're in a position where your job is at risk. Just think about it now. Say, okay, what happens if I lost my job tomorrow? Because maybe that's going to happen in 6 months. So I'm going to start preparing now. If everybody does that now and starts preparing ahead of time, it does two things. First, it secures you, but that also removes some volatility from the market, right? Because a lot of the volatility is reactionary, right? People are like, oh no, the economy's collapsing. I got to get rid of some debt, and I got to, get rid of some obligations. Well, if you do it now, then that's going to kind of smoothen things out, and I think reduce some of that volatility. A couple of comments here. And then it's basically all I want to say is just, we're seeing it on the ground. I'm probably going to go on Mark Petroni's show sometime this week and talk a little bit more about this and talk about, Bitcoin for boomers is what we talk about. We're thinking about renaming our Bitcoin segment to that, or at least I am, because the boomers have been great. They've been really sending in emails to Mark saying, I love learning about Bitcoin from you guys. This is amazing. So there's some more positivity. So I'm going to go through a few comments that are in the chat. Thank you, everybody. If you have anything else you want to post, put it out there. And I got a link here from Jason on Locals. I can't see it. I found a fantastic website. You should check it out. I can't see what the website is because that's just the way Locals is. So I'm just going to type OK, fine. And I will find out what it is and try to put it in the comments. So first we have K9. How you doing? It's good to see you, K9, by the way. Safe to the end. Okay, I'll check it. BJ, what are your thoughts about Elliot McDavid that went off on Freeland in Alberta? I see it hurting the freedom movement because of how the legacy media is going to be able to blow it up. Kanon, I have no idea what you're talking about. You're the second person. I got a similar name. I don't know if it's the same one. From somebody I know in northern BC who said something that happened with Krista Freeland. I have no idea. I'm guessing whatever happens, no matter what happens, she is the perpetual victim, despite the fact that her grandfather was an actual Nazi. And that's not including the Nazi group she went to take a picture with. So my sympathies for her are very very minimal at best. And in terms of it helping or hindering the freedom movement, I don't know. I mean, I think all of us in this space, we're going to go in our direction to keep things positive and just to focus on bringing more and more people into the fold around the virtues of positivity and love and understanding, and that we don't agree on everything, but we're going to respect each other even when we disagree. I think that's the path forward. That's part of the reason I'm doing all of these streams on all these different platforms, is just to kind of, cast a wide net for everybody to see that there's a place that they can come that we can all hang out together. Yeah, K9, send it to me on Twitter, and I'll park that for the next live stream, and we'll talk about it then if that works. Ryan C7, I'm in real estate, gold, and Bitcoin, and I'm down across the board. Yeah, I mean, it just depends when you buy, right? Like anything else, it's all timing. But if we have we're also already on the downward trajectory in terms of the economy. But just hold on to it, man. Like the markets will correct. It's going to take a few years. And when it's down, it's time to buy, right? What was it? It wasn't Rockefeller. I can't remember which investment. You guys will know, but the expression buy when you buy stocks when, or you buy assets when there's blood in the streets. What they miss, the entire quote always gets cut off, and his quote is, "You buy when there's blood in the streets, especially your own." And I think that's a good indicator with that. So when you're down, when you're, like, I think in terms of property, that's why I go towards Bitcoin. This is the time to accumulate or mine, or however you're going to accumulate your Bitcoin. Because in terms of that asset, I'm looking towards, 2029, 2023, 2030 to see, the gains that we'd all be looking for. Okay, so Jason just posted the website, www.arrestjustintrudeau.ca. All right, that sounds funny. I'm sure, look, we all know that's not going to happen. Unfortunately, that's just the way politics works. But the whole memification of that is hysterical. Next, Lucy Smith. I haven't bought a newspaper or magazine for a few years now, only because they've moved so far left that the news is fake or is manipulated to a certain agenda. Yeah, I think it's now at the point where even the normies are aware of what's going on. Like the birthday party I was at this weekend, there was, 30, 40, 50 people there. And all of them normies. And, 2-3 years ago, if we had this sort of conversation with them, they would have thought, "What, are you crazy?" But now even they are realizing that it's fake. And remember, like, these are people. Why are they normies? They're normies because they're working 2 jobs. They have 2 plus however many kids. They have parents to take care of, extended families, houses to take care of, lawns to mow. Like, they're busy. They got other stuff in their life, right? So it's difficult when you have that many obligations in your life just to keep on top of, politics. Like, who really cares, right? But even they are realizing that, politics, and particularly the fake news, is fake news. DJ, remind Ryan that he may be down in the fiat exchange rate price, but he still owns the asset if he has self-custody of Bitcoin. Yeah, that's a very good point. And I don't see any buffering, Ryan, on my end. So it might be your connection, because usually if there's buffering, I would see it on my stream because I'm watching the stream as well. But if anyone else is, I'm sorry. What's funny is it seems to be buffering during the live. Maybe I'm saying the wrong things. But if you watch it afterwards, then it seems to self-correct, and it seems to be okay. Okay, I'm going to finish off because I got to get my ass to New Jersey. Jason on locals. I'll give you kind of the last comment, and it happens to you too. Okay, I'll shut it down in in 30 seconds. Let me just finish this last conversation. We'll be out of here. I recently discovered in 2019 Parliament report that we went ignored by the Trudeau government. Inside the report, David McGuinty discloses that members of the Parliament may be compromised, along with media, education, private and public organizations. Yeah, that's that political entryism, DJ, I was talking to you about in your Twitter space earlier this morning. By the way, follow DJ Satoshi on Twitter. He does some fuck. This is not the time for people to call me, and you know what, that person's going to call me 4 times now. Anyways, sorry to everybody on Instagram. That was a journalist trying to call me, and now the Instagram is flashing and going all crazy. Oh, here we go. So yeah, follow DJ Satoshi on Twitter. We do spaces together frequently, and he's a good dude. Anyways, going on with the comment. One of your first interviews during the convoy, you mentioned the only way Canadians can get their country back is by all doing our part, whether that is getting into politics, organizations, and stuff. So you decide, okay, yeah, it's just time to use it. So yeah, that idea that if you want to safeguard our institutions, then you get involved. And you don't have to, run for prime minister. You don't have to run for member of parliament. You can just get involved in a political party. And it doesn't have to be the Conservative Party. You can be the Liberal Party, go into the Liberal Party and vote in change to help get rid of the extremists. You can do the same thing in the NDP. Or any party, it doesn't really matter. Or go non-party. If you don't like political parties, then you have, then get involved in your local candidacies, student city council, or even what might be even more important if you have kids, which is school trustee. And that's where a lot of the problems really started in the 80s. I can tell you, having a father who was a teacher. So I'm going to leave it there. I got to run. Love all you guys. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We talk about negative things, but from the positive perspective, as in the world is not collapsing. There's so many good things going on. I spent an hour before bed last night just catching up on all the discoveries with the James Webb telescope, some white pills of all the amazing things that are going on. People who like or dislike Elon Musk, look what he's doing, man. Like this whole SpaceX platform that he's built in terms of building the satellites and internet communication for people all over the world who can't have access to it. So there's so many good things going on in the world, and we need to acknowledge them. If we have those in our mindset, then the negative things that are, the minority that the media wants to blow up, that are all the major things, they're really just small cases, small issues that we can work through. And especially if we stick together, we're strategic, and it doesn't always require a convoy. Sometimes it just requires us being level-headed and staying positive and talking to friends and family around us. So anyways, I got to run. Thank you, everybody. Love you all. Thank you, everybody, for joining. The few people that were on Instagram, I don't know what I'm doing, but it's all new.